All of this throws a lot onto Congress's already full plate. And joining us now are Congressman Charlie Rangel, Democrat from New York, and Congressman Randy Forbes, Republican from Virginia. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Doug.
How does adding a Syria vote complicate this already busy House schedule that we were anticipating? Congressman Rangel, we'll start with you.
It's kind of rough because there's been opposition in the House to everything that the president has proposed in terms of jobs, the budget, health care, and education. So we got a big agenda, and to get involved in an international problem without international support, I just don't see where that helps us at all move forward.
And Congressman Rangel, just to get to another point here, you have advocated for a draft, which is an interesting perspective given the gender integration of the military. You're talking about a draft not only for male members of the military or prospective members, but for women too.
I think the Defense Department has made it abundantly clear that men and women have to be treated equally in our services, but there's no question in my mind that the Congress would not be so willing to go along with presidents who put our men and women in harm's way if they thought that their families, their loved ones, their constituents could be drafted. You know, most of all of our draftees who are paid to fight these wars come from low-income communities and don't have really a lot of economic opportunities themselves. And so if you're going to go to war and you're going to declare it, it seems to me you ought to have some skin in the game, and sacrifice is a part of it. You just can't sit back and say, support the president, let's go to war, and then go back home and try to explain it.
And Congressman Forbes, I guess the key question from the congressional point of view at this point is, are the votes there? I know it's early, but what are your thoughts about that?
Well, Doug, I don't think anybody's going to know until we've done what we need to do now. I think it's right for the president to come to Congress. National security trumps any other issue that we have. I think we owe it to the president. He is our commander-in-chief, to listen to what he has to say, to find out if he does have a strategy and an objective and how we exit out of there. But so far, many of us haven't been persuaded that he actually does. And so I think it's going to be a huge lift to try to get the votes for military action in Syria.
Are you persuaded at this point?
I'm not, but one of the things that I'm committed to do is make sure that I'm available to the commander-in-chief. If he wants to come to Congress, I'm going to listen to whatever he says on both classified and an unclassified nature. But so far, I haven't seen the strategy that he's laid out. One of the things I would be absolutely opposed to is this shooting a strike across the bow or slapping them in the face and thinking we can just get out of there. That's not what our military is set up to do. That's not what we should be doing. But we are going to listen to the President of the United States.
And one of the curious things, Congressman Forbes, is no urgency in calling Congress back. We're waiting until your originally scheduled date, September 9th, which gives leeway to a lot of potential things that could happen. First of all, as we see so frequently in our society, which has a very short attention span, interest in this kinds of thing wanes. The outrage tends to wane. There are going to be polls taken between now and September 9th. Things could change. What happens on the ground in Syria could change between now and then.
Well, Doug, that's certainly the case, but also sitting on the Armed Services Committee, we've been wondering why the president hasn't had a sense of urgency about this for several months now. And as you mentioned, when you don't have that sense of urgency, I think it lends credibility to the fact that maybe we shouldn't take any military action at all. And so far, most of the people that I talk to don't believe that the president has made his case to either Congress or the American people yet. We're waiting to see if he can do that when we go back in session.
And Congressman Rangel, Representative Peter King was on Fox News Sunday this morning. He said that the authorization will not pass, in his view, and that Obama's vacillating will cost him support of members. Do you agree with that?
I don't see where there should be a sense of urgency to go to war when the Congress hasn't approved it. This is an international problem, and so we ought to be looking to the United Nations, the Security Council, the Arab League, the European Union. I cannot understand how we can assume, because the president has drawn a red line, that we have to commit young men and women in a war. And I never, in fact, ever heard of a limited war, whatever that means, but to chastise and to to let a evil man know that we're dissatisfied, I don't really think warlike methods is the way to go. This is international. Bring together our international people, those in the community, and let's try to work out something. Those rushing to fight are not going to be fighting themselves. No one in their family will be fighting. And we've been allowing president after president to put us in these situations. And I thank President Obama for following through on his commitment as a senator that you just don't go to war without the congressional consent.
As a veteran of that police action in Korea, which remains a central issue in our world today, you should know. Thank you very much, Congressman Charlie Rangel and Representative Randy Forbes of Virginia. Thank you both.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
As the White House